Like Gwen Stacy being dead, as much as everybody misses Gwen Stacy, nobody cared about Gwen Stacy in the first place.
No,
hey,
it was a good storyline.
Do you remember where you were when Gwen Stacy died? Because I do. I was reading the story. I know exactly where I was at when Gwen Stacy died. I cared about Gwen Stacy, but in retrospect, nobody cared about Gwen Stacy. No. That's why they killed her.
Three words. Are mutants dangerous?
Why do you ask questions to which you already know the answers?
Does nobody read X-Men?
You know, Magneto's right. There's a war coming. You sure you're on the right side?
But some people without brains do an awful lot of talking, don't they?
Oh, you should put that speech on tape.
He pulls a knife, you pull a gun. He sends one of yours to the hospital, you send one of his to the morgue. That's the Chicago way.
Hello, Chicago, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Gotta drink to that.
Welcome to Alternate Reality.
Jerry Conway said, who in the cast can I kill that people will remember but won't really affect anything? And it wound up being Gwen. You're not going to kill Jonah. You're not going to kill Aunt May. You're not going to kill...
They even threw a red herring with Robbie's son on the cover.
Even Ned Leeds and Betty Brant, they were happily married at that point.
Why do you kill Gwen Stacy? Because he's hanging out with Mary Jane. He's got two girlfriends. Betty and Veronica. One's got to go. One's got to go.
That's what they should do with Betty and Veronica. Have Archie and Reggie fight and have Archie impale Reggie on a goblin flag. After Reggie throws Betty off the roof of high school.
Why Betty? Why not Veronica?
Because the blonde's the one that get killed.
Oh,
nobody ever dies in comics because they're all intellectual property, so they're never going to die. I was just telling Rod, Martian Manhunter was just killed in Justice League. You really think he's going to stay dead?
No. I'll be willing to bet in the Justice War thing, Scott Snyder's going to
bring him back.
Of course he's going to bring him back. Everybody that dies comes back from the dead. Because there's always somebody out there who says, you know what?
I can
take this character.
I can do something with this character.
I can make $1 million out of him. But he's dead right now. I can fix that.
It really wasn't him. It was all an illusion.
Yeah, it was an illusion. It was a clone. It was. He was in a coma that we thought was death, but it's not death.
Martian Manhunter could look like anyone. It was still pretending to be Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He's not dead. Yeah. He's on Supergirl, for God's sake, on the CW, and he's going to be part of the Crisis event. You really think he's going to keep him dead? By the way, that costume she has sucks.
Yeah,
yeah,
it does. I saw the costume. It doesn't.
I don't know why they changed the costume, but it's Superman's costume, what she's wearing, with a couple of varnishes here and there, to make it a Supergirl costume. She's got the thing around the thumbs for the costume to hang on to. But basically, it's Superman's costume, which she's wearing right now. There is, and if you don't believe me, go on Google and look it up. It won't be hard to find. Adventure Comics number 411, I believe it is. Supergirl went through a period of time in the early 70s where she had a new costume like every issue for like 10 issues of Adventure. And in Adventure 411, that actually looks like the costume she's wearing, except I think she's got red gloves in that one. And she obviously doesn't in this thing. But it's essentially the same costume.
Basically, the story was she's a girl, she can change her outfit whenever she wants to.
Okay.
Yeah. But that was a thing back then where DC had not a contest, but look, we've had Supergirl in the same costume since 1959. Why don't you guys send in some ideas for costumes? And that's when he got a bunch of ideas, and she went through a whole bunch of different costumes over the course of 10 to 12 issues. And most of them were god-awful, but the one they wound up staying with for the longest time was that one with the V-neck front with the Superman logo on the side of her breast and the short pants and the sandally looking things. That's the costume she was in for like 20 years.
I just didn't care for that.
Anyway, hey folks, how you doing? Comicbookman here. Welcome to the Alternate Reality. This is the podcast for the store Alternate Reality. It's located at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie in beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood. Alternate Reality, where for over a quarter century now, all new comics have always been 15% off every day for everyone. I'm being joined today by the dynamic duo of the one and only man of music, man of letters, man of words,
man of mutants,
Rod Flash.
Hello.
And joining him today is the man who knows everything, Bo. And today, we're going to talk about Jonathan Hickman, House of X, probably Power of X. We'll get into it too, but
Power of 10. No, he said it's Power of 10. People are misunderstanding what the title is.
As we record this, House of X number 1, or House of 10 number 1, is the only book that shipped. We don't have a Powers of yet, but it's coming.
This week.
It's coming this week. We're basing everything off of the first issue. Okay. Before we get into it, I want a little background. Jonathan Hickman is the brain behind this current reboot, and this is being called the 5th Age of Mutants. The first age was Stan and Jack. Second age was Giant Size X-Men 1. The third age was X-Men 1 by Chris Claremont and Jim Lee. Fourth one was Grant Morrison's
X-Men.
And Quitely's?
Yeah.
Was it Quitely?
Frank
Quitely's X-Men. And this one is the 5th age of X-Men. And each one of those ages, something significant happened to change the course of the X-Men and to kick it forward for at least the next 5 to 10 to 12 years.
And this, what he's doing right here, this is something Hickman's been planning for over 10 years. This is an idea he had a long time ago. He kept working on it all the time. He didn't even have a book. So I got this idea. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And he just kept writing all that stuff down in his notebooks.
So basically, in his bedroom, he had a big giant
and
he just started putting stuff on that.
I remember seeing a picture of Hickman's house or office, and it's full of notebooks, which have nothing but notes about anything and everything he works on. He does more research than anyone in comics history of what he wants to do.
For those of you who are not 100% familiar with Hickman, some of his work is included, and he's well known at Marvel, but we'll get that to in a minute. But some of his more recent work has been over at Image, where he's done Black Monday Murders, East of West, Dead and Dying, Manhattan Projects, Pax Romana, and Nightly News, among other things. He's done other stuff too, but those are the highlights of his Image work. 14 years or so.
Once he left Marvel, he went over to Image to do all the career-own stuff.
Well, his Marvel work, Ultimate Thor, Ultimate Hawkeye, Ultimate Fallout, back when the Ultimates were an actual thing, Secret Warriors, S.H.I.E.L.D., the version of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Dustin Weaver, which was, I think, a 6-issue miniseries, of which they got 4 issues out, and the last 2 issues never shipped until like 10 years later.
Yeah, right. It took a while.
But it was huge when it first came out. It tied S.H.I.E.L.D. in historically into the Marvel Universe, going all the way back to Lee.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Like, what?
Howard Stark had powers, too.
Of course, the last big thing he's known for, and we'll get into that with this too, is the Fantastic Four. He had a groundbreaking run on the Fantastic Four back around 29, 10, 11, which rolled into FF, Future Foundation, which was a book he also created. Yes. He created the Future Foundation until Marvel said, hey, we're getting rid of the Fantastic Four for like a decade. Because Fox we don't have the rights, and screw Fox.
Ike is a jerk, and we got to get rid of the book for a while. And
the book that basically made us who we are.
And Hickman went, well, I can understand. It's a business decision. I don't take it personally.
After Fantastic Four, he worked on Avengers. He worked on New Avengers. He wrote the Infinity miniseries. And he wrote the Secret Wars, plural, miniseries, the one that came out in 2015. Which had 1,001 offshoots from it, miniseries and one-shots and all sorts of stuff, which when that ended up, it recreated the Marvel Universe as we know it today. Now, his book, House of X, House of 10, and Power of 10, these are going to be 2 5-issue weekly miniseries. They're going to checkerboard each other.
House of X will ship every 2 weeks, Powers of X will ship every 2 weeks, and everything ends on October the 9th.
Powers of X #1 is coming out next week. And then right after that is going to be the next House of X #2.
14th, 21st, 20th, and hits all the dates. But it all ends on October the 9th, and then you'll get this big, huge compilation. And apparently said when this last issue is over with, when this is done, you're going to go, holy crap, that's what you're trying to do?
This is essentially a big 10-issue weekly series. Yeah. That's coming from Marvel, except it goes across 2 5-issue books.
Power of X is a historical story. It takes place over years. House of X is what's going on right now.
Okay. So before we get talking too deep into this, you just wrapped up a whole bunch of stuff on Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah.
You had, previous to that, you had all the X-Men color books.
Those ended.
You also had a bunch of stuff like X-Force.
All the books are over with, and
the Iceman book.
Yeah, the Iceman book. Well,
the Mr. and Mrs. X.
The Iceman book died not because of Hickman, because
this stuff was going on beforehand.
Yeah, everything's all wrapped up.
Now, from this point on, I don't think he's retconned anything out of existence.
No, he said
he might as well have. With what he's doing.
Anyone that Matthew Rosenberg bumped off in Uncanny, those people aren't dead in the Hickman world.
No, they're not. Yeah. They're not.
But that's a retcon.
Yeah,
he's bringing dead people back.
In fact, he took a shot at Rosenberg. He says, my idea when I take on a book is I'm supposed to come in, work on my toys, and put my toys back on the box together. I'm not supposed to put it to the point where my toys are broken in the box. My toys are supposed to be all whole inside the box. And people went, You're taking a shot at Rosenberg, aren't you, for bumping up characters left and right? and he didn't say yes, but he also didn't say no.
Right. So basically, he's going, this is us starting over.
Yeah. So anything that happened, except, well, people aren't dead.
Well, is there going to be a sort of explanation how dead people are back, or we're just doing it?
Dead characters will be popping up in both of these limited series, and then when they do the new ongoing series in October, he'll be doing the regular X-Men book with Lionel Francis Wu as art. I'm like, holy crap, you got Lionel Francis Wu doing the art for this book? I'm in. Hickman's in charge of the entire X universe. Everything goes through him. Everything.
Now, have they made any sort of announcement as to what books are coming up after these 10 issues are over with?
Yes, they certainly did.
Got the list.
What's the list?
X-Men. You have a return of Excalibur.
Yes, Excalibur's coming back.
With a new Captain Britain. You have Marauders, the team that killed the Morlocks.
Yeah.
They're getting their own book. You also have New Mutants that's coming back with their own book. Nobody dies. You also have Fallen Angels.
Okay.
It's basically sort of like the Thieves group of that. There's going to be like 2 groups in one called Fallen Angels.
That's actually a mini-series that Marvel did back in the 70s.
Right.
I don't think it had an X-Men tie-in. That one, but it was around in the late 70s, early 80s.
It was kind of close to that, but yeah, it wasn't a dark.
And a book that would not, like you said, would not die, X-Force.
Because mutants need a Black Ops operation, and X-Force is it. Now, you notice what you're not hearing. You're not hearing solo books. You're not hearing Wolverine.
No, I think I saw Wolverine in like 3 books.
Yeah, but that is phase 1 starting in October. There is a phase 2 wave of mutant books that they're not going to announce until the New York Con, which is in October. There are more books coming, all revolving around what Hickman's doing.
Well, outside of Wolverine, the other one who's obviously absent in that list is Deadpool.
Yeah, Deadpool. Because Scotty Young's done with what he's doing on the book, and yeah, Deadpool's going to get his own book too. You won't get Deadpool, Spider-Man, stuff like that.
Oh, be still my heart. No more Deadpool, Spider-Man.
No more Deadpool, Spider-Man. I'm sorry I had to break your heart.
Okay, so that's the future. As far as the present goes, you both read House of X #1. What do you guys think?
If you didn't know the Hickman book, the moment you open the book and start looking at it, you go, oh, damn, this is the Hickman book.
Yeah.
There is more dialogue in this one issue than is in most comics.
Okay, for starters, the book has this storyline set up where there's this place called Krakoa. Yeah. It's the island for mutants.
It's Giant Size X-Men 1.
Oh, but the funny thing about it is, the only way you can get to Krakoa is you have to be a mutant.
Yeah.
You have to have permission.
Yeah. From Krakoa.
From Krakoa.
Right.
The living island.
Yeah, the island has to go, no, I don't want you.
And then you come in through the portal.
Yeah.
And then they got people checking you in. You know what it's just like? Yeah. Young Justice, the animated series.
Yeah.
When they're beaming into the island. Number 14, Flash. Number 12, Green Lantern. And it's like, oh, that's where he stole it from. Okay. From Young Justice.
But you know, I sort of liked it because now X-Men, it doesn't have to compete with Avengers and all the other books out there. Well, you make an X-Men exactly what it should have been when you can tell the difference between an X-Men book and an Avengers book.
Well, with AVX, they pretty much mixed the 2 teams together, so they were unrecognizable with each other.
Should never have done that.
Well, that was the point behind AVX, so we're going to take some mutants and put them on the Avengers team, and the Avengers put them on the mutants team, and everybody's going to have a good time.
But what's interesting is about AVX, remember Xavier died?
Yes.
Hickman suggested it, and he went, you guys are going to do that? Really? I didn't mean for you to do that. Yeah, we're going to kill Xavier.
Yeah, again.
Yeah, you kill him, and then you put the brain in the Red Skull and all of that, but Magneto's basically the star of the book. He's saying what Xavier probably would be saying.
He's the voice of Xavier because Xavier can't be bothered to talk to you.
Well, he's sort of pissed off.
So I'm going to talk to you.
I'm going to get the guy that can basically
I know you don't want to talk to me,
I'm not
but
going to get Wolverine to
you don't have a choice.
Right. And
you have to talk
You basically have one of the #1 terrorists on the planet talking to the heads of other countries on there saying, okay, this is how it's going to be from now on. We are your gods. Right.
Yeah,
we don't care about your laws no more.
Mutants have been elevated to the level of gods.
The Magneto stuff is good, but the best part on this was a little mediocre fight with Sabretooth, Toad, and Mystique. Sabretooth gets captured by the Fantastic Four. Cyclops comes in through the doorway from Krakoa and says, oh, guess what? There's an amnesty thing on against us. And they're arguing back and forth. Sabretooth comes back and said, no, he just did this. Reed is talking to him, and then Cyclops basically becomes exactly what I wanted him to be, the unofficial a-hole leader of the X-Men. And he basically told him point blank, you guys have been pissing on us for decades, and Sabretooth is a family member. Right. He may be a criminal, maybe a killer.
But he's
our business. He's our problem.
But then at the end he says, okay, you can keep him for now.
Yeah, he said you can keep him now. And by the way, guess what? This is the best part of the whole book.
The killer line.
The killer line. Your son Franklin, tell him when he becomes above legal age, he can come back to his family in Krakoa.
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
And then he walks away from that, and you got Reed and Sue sitting up there going, Franklin Richards is a mutant. And everybody kept asking me, Franklin Richards a mutant? Yeah.
He's one of the most powerful mutants out there.
He always has been.
Yeah, he always has been.
Yeah, he's been that since mid-70s. Well, they were doing stuff early on when Jack was still with the book. There's something funny with Franklin, but there was that storyline in the early 70s where Reed had to shut Franklin down.
Because he was too powerful.
Because he was going to explode like a nuclear bomb. So Reed had to basically turn him into a veg for a while.
Trust me, Franklin remembers that. I bet he does.
Well, Franklin has also created parallel Earths for his family to hide in.
To live in.
Back in Heroes Return.
Yeah, there's really no limits to him. What you notice when you read this book is you have to read this book more than once.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of stuff in this book.
You missed the first time.
You read it, and you read it again, and you read it again, and you go, this is a very densely written book.
It is.
With a lot of information in it. And that's what, and the typeface is small, but it's small because I'm trying to get all this out, and I'm trying to get this all in your head.
Right.
And you go through it, and you have to read it over, and you read it over, and you go, damn, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
One of the interesting things about this issue is the Fantastic Four. Hickman's last big thing that he's remembered for is the Fantastic Four, and both the Fantastic Four and the X-Men were the two teams that were sent into exile because of the Fox rights problem.
Right.
Fantastic Four was killed altogether, and the X-Men line was pared way down to a handful of titles a week. So who shows up in this first issue? The Fantastic Four. Could have just as easily been Avengers.
And it worked seamlessly, though. They also would allude to the fact that this is a global situation, and you have other countries that's probably going to be talked about during the miniseries that they're saying, Xavier can't do this. He can't do this. And Magneto saying point blank, we can.
Yeah, we can.
You're assuming the guy in the helmet's Xavier.
Maybe.
You never see the guy take off the helmet.
Xavier. Now, one thing you will get.
You think it's Xavier?
With Powers X, and Hickman made this quite clear. When you read number 2, everything you read in number 1, you're going to go, huh? Wait a minute. There's going to be a retro moment where every issue you're going to go back and go, wait a minute, that's what you were trying to tell me? Damn, I didn't notice that. He's written this as an elaborate puzzle book to set you into the new X-Men universe.
Also alluded to the fact that Xavier's twin sister, Cassandra Nova, is coming back.
The plants. We got to talk about the plants.
Orchids.
It's not orchids. It's something else.
Flowers of Krakoa.
The flowers have got a special purpose.
They got drugs.
Well, you make a drug out of them.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're a mutant, it does one thing. If you're a human, it does another thing.
Yeah. Human drug L basically makes humans live 5 years longer. Human drug M, if you're crazy, it makes you sane. Gateways, and the flowers is basically from point A to point B. That's how you transfer from place to place. The delivery mechanism. And there's one called No Place, which is not one you want to be involved with because apparently it will kill you.
Well, the first couple of pages in this thing is dedicated over to the X-Men taking this plant from Krakoa and planting it in different places around the world.
Yeah.
Does something, and it's important to the overall storyline because he takes an awful lot of time to show you it and to show you the stuff you can do in it.
Yeah.
That is dangerous. That is dangerous.
If you're a human,
you got a plant that can make you 5 years longer, of course they're going to graft for that.
Take this drug and you no longer have cancer.
See, this is why I'm getting the scientific
part. So if we have a drug that can cure cancer and we're supposed to dislike them? No! That's not how it works. But they're cool.
Well, no, but the flip side of that is then they make themselves disliked.
Because they're pharmaceutical
something
companies
always
that's going to
happens
sit up
to
there
make
and
themselves
go.
disliked. Well, if they go down that route, I would assume the pharmaceutical companies of America would not be happy with this drug.
No.
So that is
something. What are they going to stop it?
That may be later.
Let's see. They get a hold of a couple of congressmen and start a smear campaign against the mutants, which has never been done before in the Marvel universe.
Okay. We're a sovereign nation. We don't care.
We don't have to listen to any.
You can't find us. You don't know where we are. You can't stop us. So go right ahead.
Let's see. I have 2 of the world's greatest telepaths with me. I also have an ex-terrorist who has the fundamental power of the universe, and they're telling us point blank, we are staying here. We don't have to deal with your BS down there. We don't care.
I got one word for you. Genosha.
There is no Genosha.
Exactly. And why is there no Genosha?
Because you're living in
Because it got nuked off the face of the earth.
Like Cassandra Nova
what's going to stop this from getting nuked off the face of the earth?
You can't find Krakoa. It's not a place.
No, I'm sure they could figure it out.
No, that's what
Tony Stark is still alive in the Marvel universe, and so is Reed
Oh,
Richards.
they did.
I am
That's
sure
a funny
That's
thing
why they
about
had that
Stark
line
in
where
there.
he says, "Can we go to Krakoa?" He goes, "You can't, because technically Krakoa doesn't exist. It's not an earthly spot."
The tie-in with the Marvel Universe in this book was Reed Richards was presumed dead, right?
Yeah.
Tony Stark was presumed dead.
Yeah.
Well, apparently they left all the equipment sitting around there. Damage Control there.
Yeah, that's the flip. Damage Control is actually a dangerous organization. They're not the woman-friendly, goofy people they are. They're taking all this X-Tech and doing bad crap with it.
Well, that ties into the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Because you had Damage Control taking over from the Tinker and the Vulture in the movie.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the comics and the movies are generally pretty much becoming one. They're set up in that thing not as a goofy organization, but a maybe they're not so nice organization.
And as you're talking to Hickman, one thing Hickman said, he did this long post. He said, "Look, I'm not following the movies.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't give a crap what's going on in the movies. I'm here to tell my story. What happens in the movies does not affect me. It will not influence me.
yeah.
I'm not following the movies."
Well,
so he's
the problem with
ignoring-
that, though, is that when you go back to them talking about the toys in the playbox, it's Disney's playbox.
Hickman has already laid out his entire run of this thing, so everyone in Disney has already seen it. Remember, they're really hands off on this stuff. They let them do whatever they want to do.
Well, they're hoping that they're going to come up with ideas that they can exploit in the movies.
And for all they know,
You know, like Lady Thor.
yeah, they may look at this and go, "We could make a couple of movies out of this."
You know, this book is also political too. There's a line in there where Magneto's talking to like the heads of state, and the representative from Jerusalem is there, and they said, "Well, we have an agent that's a mutant now, which is just Saber,"
Right.
and they said for a reason she's not a part of this right now, and that's when Magneto goes into the whole speech about, "We don't call you humans no more. We call you wolves."
Well, Magneto's always starting crap.
Well, that's what
He
now
said,
he has
"Look,"
the endorsement of Charles Xavier
He's saying, "Look,
to do that now.
you haven't evolved to our level, so we're looking at you as what you are.
Wolves.
We're superior."
Yeah, we're superior to you.
We don't have to,
But you know as well as I do where that's going to head.
But
as soon as you get big enough in your britches, you get knocked out.
Well, that's it. What's the old saying? Absolute power corrupts absolute.
Yeah.
And now the
Magneto's
has
always
absolute
been
power.
that way.
So,
Well, now he has the following of guys that he tried to kill for the past 60-some years.
and so the question will be, who will be the villains in this?
Oh, there's going to be some.
There will be villains in this, but yeah.
There's going to be a run-in with the Avengers because for like the past several years, you had Cyclops and Captain America going back and forth.
Yeah, you've got an X-Force book. They're the Black Ops operation. Who are they going after?
Well, if they did the general amnesty against every mutant for everything, and you can come home to us, everything you've done on Earth is forgiven. That's going to be some problems right there.
Yeah, but everything is forgiven. But if you come here and act like a jerk, we'll kick you out.
If
you're doing stuff that we don't like, you're exiled and you don't get protection anymore. In fact, not only will they come after you, we're going to come after you. And you know what we can do, so you really need to be scared of us. So you need to behave.
Basically, what this book is saying is that X-Men is a universe unto themselves, and anybody else that doesn't agree with them are considered the enemy.
Yeah, it's always been Magneto's point. You tried to kill me. Every chance you get, you guys try to kill us. So why should I be nice to you?
Yeah, we got our own plan. We don't need you.
We don't need you.
We don't need you.
You need us more than we need you.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. If you read the damage control page.
Yeah, like I said, when he supposedly passed away, he left a lot of stuff just lying around and they got picked up.
He's got a full list of the stuff they
I thought that was the point behind Armor Wars.
Well,
was him trying to get his technology back.
Well, so he's got Mark 5, Mark 6, Mark 7, and Mark 8.
That's armor he's leaving around somewhere after a fight.
Stuff to live after a fight.
Like, say for instance, he gets into a fight with the Hulk, he wears a Hulk Buster armor, he gets ripped to shred. He just leaves the armor there, damage control goes, oh, guess what?
He picked it up.
We got Tony Stark's equipment here.
Okay, before we wrap this up, as you're going through this story, they basically do PowerPoint presentations where the story stops and you have 2 white pages full of text and symbols and it's not just once. It happens a couple of times. And you're talking about being a Hickman book?
That's a Hickman book.
Yeah, I'm looking at that and going, oh, it's East and West.
That's a Hickman book. That's how you know it's a Hickman book. Well,
I think this is sort of like introducing trying to bring people into the X-Men.
You can basically explain everything you need to explain without stopping it with storyline, with a dialogue that's going on. You go, look, this is what you need to know. It's right here. Read it. If you don't want to read it, that's fine. But it's here for people who want to read it, who want the whole story.
So it's probably the first book that Marvel's done in a long while where you don't have to pick up the previous issues in order to understand.
Well, there is no previous issue. This is it. We're starting here. Everything new starts here.
This is
it. That's why it's the 5th age of the X-Men. Right. With Grant Morrison and Quietly's X-Men book, you didn't need to have to pick up anything before that first issue.
No.
Because they started you off brand new from there.
Yeah.
I know the PowerPoint presentation thing bothers me. That's the type of stuff that I want to see integrated into the story. That's not the type of stuff that I want the book to stop for so I can read this encyclopedia page and then jump into it.
But to me, this is like reading a book.
Yeah, but it's a comic book. I'm not comfortable with it.
I think it's good. I think this is like more than a comic book because
And by the way, artwork's kick-ass artwork.
Yes, it is.
They picked two really good artists to introduce this,
and they are
Pepper LaRaz and Narby Silva's also. And both these guys have been working on X-Books for a while. These aren't guys that they just found. These are guys that have been hanging around Marvel. These are part of the Young Guns. This battle.
They also did the Avengers.
They worked on this stuff as well.
Miniseries, the weekly book.
One of the things in the encyclopedia page they do is they lay out who the current Omega level.
No, not current. The only Omega level. Mutants.
Well, as of this issue.
Yeah, as of this issue, they also make distinctions that Magneto and Forge are the most powerful of the power types, but Forge is not.
Because his thing is like a potential power with Magneto.
Magneto's power can't be. There's no measure to his powers. That's why Iceman makes it on there. There is no measure to his powers at all.
But that doesn't mean he's Omega level.
No.
Just because you haven't measured it doesn't mean that he's Omega.
His powers of temperature manipulation, which means he could go to a stadium of people and kill all of them.
You don't know that just because he hasn't done it yet. Doesn't mean he can do it or can't do it.
Do you want him to do it first?
No, but you're telling me he can freeze the globe, okay? And no.
I didn't say he could freeze the globe. I said he could go into a stadium full of people and kill all
Cyclops has never tried to punch a hole through the earth to ignite the core of the planet. But just because he hasn't done it doesn't mean he might not be able to.
Because Cyclops is not an Omega level.
You don't know that.
We have the listing right here.
They have
this
the
is it.
Maybe they need to test him to find out.
His brother Gabriel is in there, and you also have
Vulcan. So that means Vulcan's coming back.
Yeah, and you also have Franklin Richards by the name of Powerhouse, which we said earlier, reality manipulation, which is the mutant power.
Also, Hope Summers, and of course Legion is because
four different personalities. Each one has a power. Those Xavier kids, boy, they are something.
And of course, Hope Summers is there because who were her parents? Scotty Summers and Jean Grey.
Okay. Anything else you want to say about this wonderful first issue?
Like I said, you got to read this thing more than once.
This is the weirdest X-Men book I read because
the
scientificness
when you read
of it.
Morrison's first X-Men book, that's pretty freaking.
No, he killed. He did it. That was a murder in the first issue. The 16 million.
I'm talking about that's pretty freaking.
Morrison's first X-Men book, you've got two fetuses trying to kill each other inside of a womb.
It
comes totally out of left field.
Right. It's just like, what the hell happened here?
And as I remember it, you have the X-Men coming back from a mission with a mutant dying in the back, and he dies, and basically it's like, another dead mutant. And Wolverine has his face half burnt off, and during the ride, you slowly see his face growing back.
The panel.
What Scott talking about, that smell of charred flesh. I just can't get over that. He goes, shut up, Scotty, and fly to plane.
Yeah, that was pretty weird.
So, I assume, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Definitely thumbs up. Okay. And that's going to do it for us. You can stop down at the store, pick up a copy of House of X, #1. As of this recording, we still have copies down here.
Yeah.
Second prints have already been solicited. They're not out yet. They won't be out for another couple of weeks, but second prints have already been solicited. This week, they've got the second print of Powers of X up for me to order, and I haven't even gotten the first issue yet. That's nothing new with Marvel. Oh, yes, and many multiple covers. At least 8 or 9 multiple covers.
And one of them, Dave Cockrum cover.
Yes, there's a Dave Cockrum cover. It's just a repurposed piece of art.
But
there's going to be a repurposed Jack Kirby cover.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's going to do it for us. So if you want a copy of the book, come on down and stop off at the store. And be sure to go to the store's website, myalternatereality.com, where you can see Bo's news, you can see JR's reviews, you can see Vito Carly's reviews, you can see store sales, shipping, my shipping videos, and much, much more, myalternatereality.com. And of course, this podcast, which I've changed on the front page and is actually more interactive than it was before. I finally figured out the way to get the actual widget in there from Libsyn.
Oh yeah, I saw that widget.
Who puts out the podcast.
Yeah, I saw that widget.
Yeah, the thing finally worked out for me earlier in the week. I've tried in the past. It hasn't worked. I was fooling around the other day and it came through. I said, well, if I can do this one, I can do a bunch of them.
Yeah, because since they messaged about the top 10, I said, well, I just pull it off the site. And boom, I was like, hey, look, widget.
So anyway, go to the store's website, myalternatereality.com. And until next time, this is Comicbookman saying...
Come to me, my X-Men.
Well, I'm not really saying that. How about you? It's Comicbookman saying...
So long, boys and girls.
Well, that's a good one. So long, boys and girls. Have yourself a good one. Take it easy. Be careful. Be safe. And until next time, bye. thanks a lot for listening. If you enjoyed this show, please like and share it with all your friends. We value your feedback, so drop us a question, comment, show idea, or complaint either at arcomics@msn.com or, if provided, in the comments section down below on this platform. The opinions expressed in this episode are solely those of the individuals and not necessarily those of Alternate Reality Incorporated. This show is, as always, coming to you from the Alternate Reality Comic Shop, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Mount Greenwood at the intersection of 111th and Kedzie, serving Chicago comics fandom since 1994.
Attention. By order of the President of the United States of America and the Chairman of the USSR, communications will not be restored at this time. End of message.